Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Warri, lived a man named Nduka. He was rich, respected, and he was always on the move because of the nature of his job. He worked in the oil and gas, traveling from country to country. He wore shiny suits, always looking dashing. He had a beautiful home, a luxury car, and a beautiful family. He was married to Sarah, a kind, God-fearing, and homely woman. Sarah respected and adored her husband. Nduka made sure he bought her lots of gifts, gave her a lot of money for monthly allowance. He also made sure she and their two beautiful children had a comfortable life. Looking from outside, you would think Sarah's marriage was heavenly. But inside their home lived a woman with a heavy heart. She had everything money could buy except one thing, her husband's presence. Nduka thought sending bank alerts and buying beautiful luxury dresses and bags for his wife Sarah whenever he traveled for his job outside the country would replace the emotional lack his absence was causing them. Sarah had been married to Nduka for 11 years now. She was starving for his love, laughter, and someone to eat dinner with. Their children, Alero and Tim, would always ask about their father, and all she could say was he is working and would soon be back. She would promise them. Their children missed their father's hugs as he was hardly home. Sarah missed holding her husband's hands. She missed his surprise hugs. She missed being seen and admired by her husband. Although their house was big, but it felt empty. Their rooms echoed. Their bed was cold. However, Nduka had returned from his trip one weekend and was surprised when he found that Sarah drove herself to the airport to welcome him. Honey, where is Ajayi? He frowned. Why is he not here? He asked desperately. He traveled to go and see his wife who had just put to bed 3 days ago. And you didn't tell me, Nduka snapped. I don't like you stressing yourself. You know how stressful it is driving to this airport. His eyes furrowed. As he entered the car, Nduka spent 2 weeks at home. Even though he was around, he was always online working. He worked from home. He was a senior manager in his company. Sarah had desired to have some time with her husband since he returned. She just wished he could keep his laptop by the side so she could have some time with him void of distraction. That afternoon, when she tried to complain to Nduka, he said to her, looking surprised, Honey, I don't think you should continue this way. You already know the nature of my job. I cannot let my team down. You know I head my team and my contribution is paramount to make sure my team delivers. You know what? Once I'm done with this meeting, we would have enough time to talk and relax. You know, there is this beautiful restaurant I saw online. The last time I traveled, I promised myself that once I'm home, we would go there and have a good time. So don't worry, you see I have a lot of plan for us. Sarah nodded, forcing a smile. She patiently waited for Nduka till it was almost 4 p.m. When their kids arrived from the school, she welcomed them, made sure they showered. She also fixed them their lunch, and afterwards, she assisted them with their homeworks. That evening, when their children were done resting, they went into their father's bedroom. Good evening, Dad, they greeted. Tim, their son, said to him, Dad, you know you promised to take us on a walk today, and it's currently 6 p.m. Are we still going for the walk? Ndoka muttered. I'm so sorry. It won't be today again. Let me see how tomorrow would be. As you can see, I'm still working. I have a lot in my hand. Alero and Tim frowned. Their faces turned pale. They got emotional as they broke into tears. They walked out of their father's bedroom, very disappointed. But Ndoka did not notice this as he was neck deep in his work. As they walked into their mother's bedroom, they cried sadly. Lero complained to Sarah, Mom, Dad has done it again. He just broke his promise to us. He said no work today. As they sat on the sofa sobbing, Sarah, who was just reading a book which she had started 2 days ago, quickly closed the book. She felt hurt, but there was nothing she could do. She sat up, patted their backs, and quickly wore a soft cotton gown, one of her flip-flops, and tied a silk scarf on her head. Children, I want you to know that Dad is working so hard. to give us a better life. You know what? I'm ready. Let's go for the walk. Although Alero and Tim were happy, but it was their dad they wanted to be with. Sarah was always with them. However, the weekend before Nduka would travel back to his workstation, he brought home a driver. Honey, I wanted to have someone reliable since I travel a lot. And Ajayi is no longer coming back, so this young man here would replace him. Sarah nodded. She was used to Nduka's ways. He was always providing from a distance. Nduka continued. His name is Ekanem, and Ekanem, this is my wife Sarah. And like I have previously discussed with you, you would be staying in the boys' quarters. Listen, you will take my wife everywhere, and if you want to travel, you have to give us 2 weeks' notice so we can have another replacement. I hope that is fine with you. Yes, sir, Ekanem nodded. Good day, ma, Ekanem greeted Sarah humbly. Bowing slightly, Ekanem was dark, tall, and clean-shaven with a smile that could melt a granite. After the introduction, Ekanem went back to the boys' quarters to retire for the day. The next day being Sunday, after church service, Nduka and his family went to a beautiful restaurant where they had dinner before he traveled back to his work station the next day. Before now, Ekanem had worked for other families before working for the Ndukas. Each family with a different kind of madam. Ekanem knew how to keep his clothes very neat, his haircut also neat. Ekanem was a smooth talker, his sleeves smoother than velvet. He was polite, helpful, and carried a sweet scent that lingered. But what nobody knew was that Ekanem had a secret. He was a player, a heart hunter. He crept into lonely spaces and made himself at home. For Ekanem didn't need to force the doors open. He only waited until they were left ajar. As weeks passed, Sarah noticed him. Not immediately, but slowly. Ekanem never raised his voice. Even when he was angry or stressed, he never called her madam with dryness. Instead, he said it like a song. He would open the car doors for Sarah gently. He was always there to help her with her bags, even when she said she was fine. He noticed those things Nduka never noticed. He would always compliment her beauty, her new hairdo. He once said to Sarah, your scarf matches your eyes. Sarah could not help but laugh. Ekanem, please leave me now. Which one is that my scarf matches my eyes? Madam, you will not understand. Ekanem said softly one afternoon. He gave her zobo in a cold bottle. Madam, you look very tired. Sarah took the drink from him. Ekanem, thank you. This is so thoughtful. Madam, this market is very stressful. If I have my way, you will not enter this market. I will do all the shopping for you while you relax at home. Your skin is so soft and tender for the harshness of this weather. Ekanem said, showing some concern. Well, I like shopping here because it's quite cheap. You know how things are expensive in the island, so I come here once a month to buy all my proteins, fresh vegetables, fruits, and all other essentials. Sarah tried to explain to him, but madam, the truth still remains that this market is very stressful for a beautiful woman like you. But Sarah just nodded and smiled as they drove back home. That night, Sarah stayed awake thinking, not about Nduka, her husband, who was busy with his work and would call her once a day. And that was only in the morning when their children were about to leave for school. That was the routine in their home. Nduka only called once a day in the morning, which was his break time at work. He hardly had time for her, the children. Their conversations were straight to the point and short. Even Sarah, Lee, a lot of emotions. She thought about Ekanem's smile, how caring he was. The few weeks Ekanem have spent in their home have been quite impactful. He has become a family. She felt so relaxed whenever she was around him. Ekanem was jovial and cracked a lot of jokes. He was quite helpful in the kitchen. He helped her when cooking, especially the first time she made afang and the dikai kong soup. She was so surprised at the way he sliced the vegetables. So tiny. His food tasted really good. Not just that, their son Tim liked Ekanem so much. Every evening, after his homework, they would play football. He also taught him how to play chess and Monopoly. Since she got married to Nduka, she had never felt this way. Ekanem gave her all the attention. She had lost her self-worth since she got married. She had no inner peace, which she had with Ekanem. Before now, she had tried everything to feel whole again. She prayed in church, joined the women's group, even in their estate, tried baking classes, but nothing filled the void. She missed her husband. Her husband was everywhere but home. He had become a photo on the wall, a voice on the phone, a shadow in the hallway. Every time she made a special meal, she ended up covering it in a foil, placing it in the fridge for her husband, and eating alone with her children. Whenever they ate together, their son Tim would ask her, "Mommy, it's been months since we had dinner with Dad. I really miss Dad so much." "Me too," Alero added. They looked sad. This broke her heart. She was raising the children who had an absentee father. He was never involved in their lives. She was running their home and smiling for the world, but inside, she was in pain and drowning. For Nduka, he thought love was money, and he felt he was doing a lot for his wife and children. He was a responsible father and husband. That was all that mattered to him. Meanwhile, it was 92 months since Ekanem started working in their home, and Nduka had just breezed in one weekend and left 2 days later back to his station outside the country. Ekanem made sure to fill every empty space Nduka left behind. He began to speak softer whenever he spoke with Sarah. He lingered longer assisting Tim with his homework. He always wore a smile and hardly complained about anything. He made sure he was always there for Sarah and her children. Ekanem didn't touch her because he didn't have to. He knew how to play the long game. The loneliness grew louder, and Sarah, in her silence, grew more vulnerable. One chilly evening, as she sat in the garden, she was having a glass of tea. The weather was cold. When Ekanem joined her, she didn't chase him away. "Madam, sorry to interfere, but I know you miss Oga so much," she said. Sarah nodded, her eyes wet. Ekanem didn't touch her, he just stood beside her. "Well, I don't know why some men would prefer their jobs to their wife and children. I don't know what would be so important to any man than the happiness of his wife and children. After all, what is money without happiness?" Sarah just kept quiet, uttering no word. "All will be well, ma. Let me join Tim in the living room. We have a chess game this evening, and it's almost time. I was just walking past when I saw you here." So Ekanem quickly excused himself and walked into the main house. However, as days passed, the distance between Sarah and Ekanem got shorter. Ekanem was a hunter, not of animals, but of hearts. His strategy was slow, deliberate, and almost invincible. He wasn't just good at driving, he was good at reading minds. He knew when to speak and smile. He saw that Sarah was fragile, and he handled her like glass. Her heart ached for love. She was getting weaker by the day. One Sunday, Nduka was in South Africa, and the kids were at their uncle's house for a weekend. The house was quiet, and they were all alone. Sarah wore her simple silk dress and sat on the sofa, peeling egusi just to keep herself busy. Ekanem came in, barefoot. "Madam, let me help you," he said. "No, I'm fine. Don't bother," Sarah said, forcing a smile. But Ekanem insisted and joined her, so they talked about a lot of things and laughed out loudly. Soon, there was silence. Their hands brushed, the bowl slipped, and that night, Sarah could not control that urge deep inside. She needed that hug. She no longer cared, so she threw caution into the wind and curtain closed. Afterwards, Sarah stood up, shaking. This wasn't supposed to happen, she muttered to herself quietly, sadness on her face. "I'm so sorry, ma." Ekanem looked sorry. Deep down, he wasn't. He was happy. She had become another notch in his silent record, and for good 3 weeks, this happened between them, as they could not resist each other. However, one evening, Nduka returned without warning. His face was tired, his eyes sunken, and he needed rest. It was indeed a long flight. He had a 10-hour stopover before they finally arrived Lagos, and he boarded another flight to Warri. He needed all the rest he could get. As he walked into their home, the house felt different. When he walked in, Ekanem greeted him with too much confidence. Sarah was not too excited to see him. Their children ran and hugged him. Dad, Daddy! As they hugged him tightly. Dad, what did you get for us? So Nduka handed them a small bag, which they collected and ran into their bedroom. Meanwhile, for 1 week, Nduka noticed that Sarah was always absent-minded. She just wanted to be all by herself. She was always looking for one excuse to be in Ekanem's company, though he noticed this but had no intuition of what was happening between them. He wanted to suspect, but he trusted Sarah so much and didn't need to. One of the days, he checked the security camera footage. There were gaps, which he didn't understand. However, few days later came the final straw. Nduka had just returned unannounced from a meeting with one of his friends when he overheard Ekanem talking to someone on the phone. Guy, you will not believe this. She fell for it. I don't catch another big fish. Although I really like how she's still young, just a few years older than me. Nduka froze but maintained his calm, continued to listen to the conversation, knew has happened. So he didn't wait. He acted that night. He called Ekanem into the living room. To pack your things. I'm leaving my house this night. Sarah, who was sitting close to him watching a sitcom, was surprised. But she quickly said, honey, what happened? Why is he leaving? What's happening? She asked hesitantly. Oga, please. What did I do? Ekanem cried. Well, I no longer need your services here. You are fired. Please, sir, forgive me. I love this job, sir. You people are like family. But Nduka was not listening. She made sure that night Ekanem left their home. Though Ekanem tried to explain, Nduka didn't speak. He just pointed to the gates. The next morning, Nduka sat in the living room, holding an old photo of their wedding day. When Sarah entered, dressed in plain Ankara, her eyes were swollen. I'm sorry, honey, she whispered. Nduka only nodded. I failed too. Nduka and Sarah talked for hours. Honey, I felt so lonely. I tried to talk to you, but you did not listen. I know. There is nothing I can say that would justify that what I did was very wrong. Every night when I laid on this bed, I cried. I felt so lonely. Even when you were around, we hardly had private time to ourselves. You were either on the phone or working on your laptop. For the first time, Nduka listened. In years, he really listened. Honey, I really failed you. I chased success and career over my family, Nduka said, looking very sad and broken. They both wept. They both sat quietly on the same couch together. Nduka, please find a place in your heart to forgive me. I'm indeed very sorry. That was how Nduka opened up to Sarah how he overheard Ekanem on the phone, and with what he heard, he quickly sent Ekanem's details to a private investigator who did some checks on him, and in few hours, he was able to find out hidden secrets about Ekanem. The private investigator disclosed to Nduka that Ekanem was a playboy, and he has been doing this for over 6 years now. He had several sugar mummies, and he was paid handsomely to satisfy their lustful desires. Sarah fell for his antics, his smooth talk, his caring nature, which was one of his strongest weapons. Sarah bent down in shame and guilt. She felt as if the ground should open up so she could enter. She did not know how she landed herself in such mess. She fell to the floor, on her knees, in tears. Please, Nduka, I'm deeply sorry for breaking our vows, letting my emotions becloud my reasoning. I was vulnerable. I hoped and prayed each day that you would listen to my heart's yearnings. I no longer cared for the gifts, the car, the fanciful things you provided for me and the children. All I wanted was you. For weeks, Nduka refused to eat or speak with Sarah. Their home became more quiet, like a graveyard. They sent their kids, who were on holidays, to their uncle's house. Nduka stopped coming home. Sarah continued to write many messages to Nduka, asking for his forgiveness. But Nduka did not say a word to her. One fateful morning, she had packed her belongings into her 2 luggages. She looked back at their beautiful home. She took their family picture and was looking at it. She was weeping. She had lost everything, had lost Nduka, who had refused to take her call or reply to her messages. She would miss her loving children. As she stood in the living room holding their family picture, Nduka walked in, unnoticed. He walked up to her tapping one of her shoulders. Sarah turned surprisingly to see Nduka. She quickly fell on her knees. Nduka, I'm very sorry. I know I've sinned against God and I've broken my marriage vow. I'm ashamed of myself. All I pray for is that you forgive me and let me live your life, knowing that you have no grudge against me. Nduka was also broken. He was teary too. Sarah, please stand up. I'm not God. Although this is very hard for me. But I've given this a deep thought. I know it looks impossible, but I will do it. You are not leaving our home. Who will take care of our children? Remember, they are innocent of whatever has happened, and their well-being is paramount here. I have failed them before, and I'm not ready to fail again. I cannot put my emotion first, then let our kids suffer. We are all human and fallible. I have prayed and asked God for the grace to accept you without condemning you. Sarah, I want you to know that from the depths of my heart, I have forgiven you. And I will never use this against you. All I will ask is for you to forgive yourself. And let's join hands together to make our relationship better. I promise to become a better husband and a father and a present father in the lives of our children. I really messed up big time. I was pursuing career. I love the money that came with it. Now, what this has cost us. I have read through all the letters our children wrote to me, and I am so ashamed of myself. I have indeed missed most parts of our children's life, but I'm here to make all the necessary adjustments. I also caused you a lot of psychological and emotional pain, and I am very sorry, and I accept my faults. I want you to know this. I love you so much and will make up wherever I have failed in our relationship. God help me. Sarah wept and wept. It's okay, honey. All is well. Everything will be fine. Nduka consoled her, holding her up, hugging her. A few months later, Nduka worked out his transfer back to Nigeria and Warri to be precise. He made all the necessary adjustments to his work schedule, making sure his family came first. Before his job, he became a better present father and husband to his wife and children. Nduka and his wife Sarah and their beautiful children lived happily ever after. Thank you so much for watching this story. Please leave your comments in the comment section. And before I sign out, one of the lessons I learned from this story is to never leave your partner emotionally starving. When you do that, you open doors to temptations and some other pitfalls that are avoidable. Let's also remember that the strongest heart can fall if it's ignored long enough. Please give this story a thumbs up, share with your loved ones, and subscribe for another beautiful story. Until I come with another beautiful story, stay blessed and bye.